Hail Hydra, everyone. So you guys requested an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video. I'm going to explain what's going on. It's a big Marvel Civil War, Captain America Civil War Easter egg that they're doing, so I'll explain all the comic book stuff. If you're new to the channel, I do Marvel and DC every week. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. And careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen it yet. There are really only a couple big arcs from the comics and from the movies that you need to follow in order to understand what the TV show is doing. It's doing a lot of really cool Marvel Civil War stuff, like when they talk about the incident. I'll explain Easter eggs in a second, but you also need to understand Dark Reign, where Norman Osborn, in the wake of Civil War and the incident, quote-unquote incident that happens, seizes power and takes over from the normal Avengers. Nick Fury has to go on the DL, forms the Secret Warriors with Daisy Johnson and a bunch of other Inhumans, which is an arc that they did on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 last year. Then X-Men vs. Avengers Axis, where all the heroes get their alignments switched. So like all the good guys like Fitz, Coulson, technically love Hydra, their alignment has been shifted. Ward, who was Hydra in real life, is still a double agent, but helping out the good guys, so everybody that was good is bad, and everybody that was bad is good. And then obviously Captain America Civil War from the comics and the way they talk about the Sokovia incident. There's always an incident that people use to seize power using fear. And in this simulation, the Stanford incident from the Marvel Civil War comics or the Sokovia incident from the movies is what Hydra used to seize power and get rid of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Then you had a weak state that allowed a refugee from Bahrain, a girl, sympathetic. Even though S.H.I.E.L.D. knew she was inhuman, they brought her back to the States and put her into a classroom. The rest is history. But what inspires me is the way our country reacted, the way we came together. When no one would tell us the truth, Hydra stepped forward. They brought us law and order, purpose. They galvanized us for the good of the state over individual interests.
So in the comics, what happened is in this town called Stanford, a group called the Runaways, which is actually a TV show that's coming to Hulu, a young group of heroes that's kind of in training, goes after a group of young villains. There's this big fight, and one of the bad ones that has explosive powers called Nitro goes nuclear, killing a whole bunch of people, and it becomes this rallying cry for the Superhero Registration Act. They have these living weapons running around. We need to have them registered. So in the movies, that was the Sokovia Accords, and they call them enhanced people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can't run around being this unilateral force that doesn't answer to anyone.
For the past 4 years, you've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's an arrangement the governments of the world can no longer tolerate. But I think we have a solution. The Sokovia Accords, approved by 117 countries, it states that the Avengers shall no longer be a private organization. Instead, they'll operate under the supervision of a United Nations panel only when and if that panel deems it necessary.
The Avengers were formed to make the world a safer place. I feel we've done that.
Tell me, Captain, do you know where Thor and Banner are right now? If I misplaced a couple of 30 megaton nukes, you can bet there'd be consequences.
So what the TV show is saying, in this fake reality, remember, this is just a simulation, so this didn't happen in the real world of the TV show. So in this reality, May did not kill an Inhuman girl, and that girl went on to create this big Stanford-level Sokovia incident. Hydra used that to do a bunch of fear-mongering and get people terrified of Inhumans, like, look, there might be Inhumans that could blow up right next to you. Are you worried about your family? We need to control them. So they use that to seize power, Dark Reign, Norman Osborn style. So if you don't know what Dark Reign is, that came after Secret Invasion. So the Skrulls invaded the Marvel Universe and started masquerading as heroes. When they kicked them out, Norman Osborn took credit and used that to seize power in the government. So he effectively took power over S.H.I.E.L.D., all the big organizations, and it became this dark, twisted version of what you saw before. They called it Hammer instead of S.H.I.E.L.D. But that's where Nick Fury's Secret Warriors, a team led by Daisy Johnson, rises from in the comics. So when they did that on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's where that came from. Inside the world of the Matrix now, the leader of Hydra is Madam Hydra, being played by Ada. So it's like the Matrix, only a couple people know that it's actually a simulation. They're trying to wake other members of the team up. Coulson, you have to remember.
eliminated a loophole for their escape. Next, we tighten the noose. Hey,
Who are you? Are you with the other person? This is not okay.
Coulson, I need you to remember me.
I'm sorry, we haven't met.
We have. Please, remember me.
Daisy.
So now you wonder, what's happened to all the MCU characters? Where's Captain America? If Hydra is supreme, does that mean he's an agent of Hydra now? No, not technically, because they explained that everything was fine till the Bahrain incident, so everything up to that point is totally normal in the MCU. All the Avengers, all the Iron Man, Captain America, all the characters that you know are doing the things that they normally would do. So what they're saying is this is happening before Winter Soldier in the timeline, so Hydra used that as an opportunity to seize power instead of the events of Captain America Winter Soldier. So just like he did during Winter Soldier, he went to ground with all the other good heroes. So all the Avengers characters, the MCU characters, they're still inside this Hydra state because it's meant to be this perfect version of reality. And just by the logic of Winter Soldier and the way things played out with that movie, they're doing similar things. So they're probably part of a resistance trying to go dismantle Hydra one piece at a time. But it's much harder now because they're very popular with the government. Everybody trusts them because they're so afraid of Inhumans. So they are living in a Hydra fear state with Madam Hydra pulling the strings, literally digitally pulling the strings because she can change the code of the Matrix at will. So just remember, this is all a simulation, but the idea, what if, is a big comic book series. It's just meant to show you, hey, what would happen if Doctor Doom got the Infinity Gauntlet? So it's just meant to be like a worst case scenario, like what if that big twist where the heroes won didn't actually happen and the villains won instead? What would things look like? So just a whole bunch of comic book stuff happening. It's a lot of fun. They haven't said too much about what's going on with next season yet, but it sounds pretty good, like they'll at least get a couple episodes, even if they don't get a full season order. I don't think the show is going to be canceled, because Inhumans is meant to be their real big new ABC show that is going to premiere on ABC, even though the first couple of episodes will premiere in IMAX. But let me know what you guys think about all the what if Hydra stuff they're doing on the show. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of Easter eggs for the comics, for the movies, even for the early seasons of the show, because they brought Ward back. So what's going to happen is there's some cool Daredevil Season 3 stuff that we learned. I'll do a video for that. There's new Star Wars I want to post, new Rick and Morty. So I'll try to get those videos out as fast as possible. While you wait for that, you can click here for that Defenders teaser, and you can click here for a complete timeline explainer for the Reverse Flash on the Flash TV show in Legends of Tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.